Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to jensmeramecvalleyhome. So glad to see you all today. And it's fall now, so we're into the end of October and temperatures are getting cooler. It warmed up a little bit today. It was about 41 degrees this morning here in Missouri, and then it kind of slowly warmed up, but now it's temperatures going back down again. So I thought today we would make some bread. It is Monday, so we'll make some bread, and it is my quick, fast and easy, no-knead bread. So we're going to make that. We're going to literally use 4 ingredients, and it's going to have a really crusty outside, but the inside of the bread is going to be really soft. So that is what we're looking for in a bread. You want that really crusty bread that you can eat with your fall soups and chowders and stews. So just hang on, and we'll be right back, and we'll start this cooking. And like I said, we're just going to use 4 ingredients, so it's all good. It's going to go fast, I promise. Be right back. All right, so we're back here with all of our ingredients, and we're going to get started. So first of all, we're going to start out with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. You may also use bread flour if you wish. So we're just going to measure that out. A knife with me, but this will do. It's 1. 2. I'll get 1 more. Okay. All right, so we've got that, and we're going to set this out of the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to aerate our flour, which, not sifting it, but we're just going to take this fork and we're going to kind of put some air into our dry flour ingredient here. So we just want to do that. Incorporate some air. So we call it aerating. It's like when you're doing your lawn out there and you're poking holes in it, and that's aerating your lawn, but we're aerating our flour. Okay, so I think that is good enough. All right, and then we're going to get our yeast, and you can use rapid rise or instant for this. I happen to have some instant here, but I do need to make sure that this is still at a good temperature. Let's see here. I don't want it to be any more than 130 degrees. So let's see if it's at 130 still. It was a little bit more than that, so I think it's probably right about at 130. Okay, so I think we're good. So we're going to take 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of instant or rapid rise yeast. Just going to incorporate that. All right, seal that back up. And then we're going to take 1 teaspoon of salt. We're just going to incorporate that. Okay. Now we're just going to give it a good little mix here. Combine it all. Okay, and then we're going to stir in our water until it is well combined. So let's just put our water in there. Let's just keep stirring. All right, so I think it's getting to that well combined stage. Let's keep working that dough in. Make sure you try to get all that dough flour off the bottom of your bowl. Work it in as good as you can. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take some plastic wrap. If I can get mine out of here. And it's red because I had it from last Christmas. And we're just going to cover it. Don't you just hate that when it just wants to seize up on you? I may have to put 2 on there, we'll see. Whatever the case here. I think I'm going to have to put 2 sheets of it over there. And then just lay it like that. And we'll just let it sit. We're going to let this sit covered at room temperature for 1 hour. And I'm just going to stick it under this light here. And then we'll come back and we'll be ready for the next step of this process. So just go put your feet up or do something around the kitchen, whatever you want to do for an hour, and then come back and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so our dough over here has rested for an hour, and I had covered it up with a towel on top of the plastic. So, and just let it sit there at the room temperature. While I did that though, I preheated my oven, about 40 minutes in to the resting time of the dough. I did go ahead and preheat my oven to 450 degrees because you're going to want a really hot oven for this bread. So now that it's been resting, we're going to take our towel off, and we're going to take our plastic off. And as you can see, it's raised. And you can also add other ingredients into the dough when you're mixing it prior to raising it. You can add herbs, you can add seasonings, you can add nuts, you can add seeds, you can add olives, you can add any of those things that you love, fruits, dried fruit, any of those things that you really like in your breads. Experiment with a little bit, add some caraway seeds, or there's a bar or a jar of I think it's called everything bagel seasoning. That's got everything in it, and it is wonderful. So that would even be good in here. But today we're just making a regular loaf of bread. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of flour to the board here for the non-stick purposes. And we're going to add this flour with our scraper. It is sticky. We're going to make sure we kind of just get it out of there. There we go. We're going to use our scraper, and we're going to fold this over about 12 or 15 times. You're just going to keep folding it and keep folding it. It really is a recipe that is just so easy. We're going to throw that back on there. And we're going to keep folding it over and over a few more times here. This is a very forgiving recipe. You can't do too much wrong with it. So we're going to shape it into a ball here. Shape it into a nice little ball. I need just a little bit more on my hands. Shape it into a very nice ball. There. All right, so now we've got that taken care of. Now I've got a parchment paper lined bowl here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to set it inside the parchment paper. Okay. And we're going to let this sit with a towel over it for about 15 minutes. We're just going to place that like that. And we're going to time it for 15 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes, and there our dough is, as you can see. So it's really not going to get much bigger than that. But that's a nice size loaf of a little loaf of bread there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our oven mitts, and I want to do this too before I do anything else. I'm just going to make a nice little cut in the dough. There we go. And then it'll make a molded formation in the bread. But you don't have to do that. I just kind of like to experiment with it. So we're going to get our hot pan. Now let me tell you this. You can use a Dutch oven. You can use a Pyrex dish that's got a glass lid. You can use a cast iron skillet like I'm going to do, and I'm going to put tin foil over it. You can use any type, you could take 2 loaf pans. You don't have to use the parchment paper if you use a loaf pan, but you could take 2 loaf pans and then just seal them, you know, one on top of the other with little clips, and stick those in the oven. My Dutch oven just so happens it only goes up to 400 degrees, and this has to go into 500 degrees, 450. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cast iron skillet. Be very careful. It is super, super hot. And all we're going to do is we're going to lift it, and we're going to make like a little basket. And I do have tin foil over here. Let's see how we can get this. Because what you want to do is you want to create some steam inside. Okay, I think that's pretty. Okay, so we've got that in the oven, and that's going to create all that steam in there so that it'll make the dough rise and bake better. And then what's going to happen is, after we're going to bake this for 30 minutes on 450 degrees. And then after that, we're going to take it out of the oven. We're going to remove the tin foil and the parchment paper. And then we're going to set it back in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes and just let it brown up real nicely. So we'll give it about another 30 minutes, and we'll take it out of the oven and we'll see how it's going from there. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes, and I don't know about you, but I can't wait to get this out of the oven and see how we've done. And while we were on break, we just kind of did some cleaning up here in the kitchen. And does anybody else ever feel like they're doing dishes all the time? I feel like I do sometimes. Like I'm just doing them here and there and everywhere. But we really shouldn't be making that many dishes. There's just 2 of us, but you know, that's how it goes. All right, so I'm ready to lift this out. Shut this. Okay, wow. Take it out of the parchment paper and take it out of the tin foil. And we're going to put this back into the oven for about another 10 to 15 minutes, just so it gets good and golden brown on top. Well, the bread's been out of the oven for 15 minutes, and I let it cool down for another 15. This is a beautiful loaf of bread. It is still warm, but it is lovely. And just look, we still have a little bit of the flour on there, and it's golden brown, and it is crispy, but it's going to be very soft in the middle. Okay, so let's have a taste of this and see how we did. Now, we've got it. Hear that crunch. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Soft, but the texture is very crispy. Still pretty warm. You can hear the crunch. This is good. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just enjoying this way too much. That is so good. Just look at that. And you didn't have to knead it at all. And I like a recipe that makes things easy and makes it quick. This is a lot quicker than some recipes that I've run across. Now, of course, you can put butter or jam on that. It would be so good. Have it with your dinner, your breakfast, your lunch. It is just an amazing loaf of bread. So if you got value out of this video with this recipe that may help you out, please give me a subscribe, like, and share. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please just, I'll have my email in the description box so that you can just give me a little note and I'll answer you back. But this is a good recipe. It's so easy. I mean, you just can't even mess this up. It's like it's just like butter. It's just great. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Make this loaf of bread. This bread is absolutely divine. And you guys have a great evening. And I love y'all. And good night.